There is a certain kind of silence that only Sony knows how to create. It is not loud or dramatic, but it is heavy, uncomfortable even. It is the kind of silence that makes creators pause, refresh rumor pages, and rewatch old launch videos, wondering whether something monumental is being built behind closed doors or whether a beloved idea has quietly been abandoned. For years now, filmmakers, YouTubers, and hybrid shooters have been circling the same question across forums, comment sections, and late-night gear discussions: where is the Sony A7S IV? The longer that silence stretches, the more it feels intentional. And that uncertainty has turned curiosity into concern. To understand where the Sony A7S IV might be headed, or whether it exists at all, we need to take a step back and revisit why the A7S series mattered so much in the first place. When Sony introduced the original A7S, it fundamentally challenged the direction of the mirrorless industry. At a time when manufacturers were obsessed with megapixel counts, Sony made a bold and almost rebellious choice. Instead of chasing resolution, it prioritized sensitivity. The camera featured a modest 12-megapixel full-frame sensor, not because Sony lacked the technology to do more, but because it wanted to do something different. That sensor was designed to see in the dark, to capture clean, cinematic images in lighting conditions that would cripple most other cameras. Noise control, dynamic range, and low-light performance became the soul of the A7S identity. It wasn't just another mirrorless camera, it was a tool purpose-built for storytellers who worked in imperfect lighting. The A7S II refined that vision. It strengthened the series' reputation by improving internal recording, stabilization, and usability while preserving the same low-resolution, high-sensitivity philosophy. By then, the A7S line had become a quiet favorite among documentary filmmakers, indie creators, and video-first shooters who valued reliability over spec sheet bragging rights. But the real turning point came in 2020 with the arrival of the Sony A7S III. The A7S III was not just delayed, it was mythologized. Rumors stretched on for years, expectations soared, and many doubted whether Sony could still justify the existence of such a niche product. Then it finally launched, and for most filmmakers, it delivered. The A7S III brought stunning 4K video up to 120 frames per second, class-leading low-light performance, rock-solid autofocus, and a level of heat management and reliability that many competitors struggled to match. It felt mature, deliberate, and deeply refined. For filmmakers, it was a dependable cinema-style tool in a compact body. For YouTubers, it was a flexible, all-purpose workhorse. For Sony, it was proof that the S still stood for something meaningful. But the industry did not stand still after 2020. While Sony enjoyed the success of the A7S III, the rest of the camera world began to shift. Panasonic leaned hard into professional video with cameras like the S1H and later the GH6, embracing bold video-centric features and open-gate recording. Canon redefined hybrid cinema with products like the EOS R5C and the C70, blurring the line between stills cameras and true cinema tools. Nikon, once considered late to the mirrorless race, disrupted expectations entirely with the Z9 and Z8, delivering professional-grade performance without traditional limitations like mechanical shutters. During this time, Sony expanded aggressively, but selectively. The Alpha lineup grew in nearly every direction. Higher resolution cameras, AI-powered autofocus advancements, stacked sensors, global shutter breakthroughs, and a rapidly expanding FX cinema line all arrived in quick succession. Yet one space remained conspicuously untouched. The A7S line did not move. And that is where the silence surrounding the Sony A7S IV begins to feel less accidental and more strategic. Rumors of the A7S IV have existed for years, floating in a strange space between hope and skepticism. Early speculation suggested Sony would remain faithful to the 12-megapixel philosophy but pair it with a new backside illuminated or stacked sensor. Faster readout speeds, reduced rolling shutter, and even better noise performance were all considered logical next steps. Some reports went further, imagining 6K recording at 60 frames per second or ultra-high frame rate 4K video at 240 frames per second, features that would have once again placed the A7S series at the cutting edge of hybrid video. Other rumored upgrades included next-generation AI autofocus, improved color science inspired by Sony's cinema cameras, and advanced stabilization systems capable of predictive correction. These ideas did not sound unrealistic. Sony already possessed the processing power, sensor expertise, and firmware sophistication to make them happen. On paper, the Sony A7S IV seemed like an inevitable evolution, a masterclass in modern hybrid filmmaking. Then something changed. The steady trickle of leaks slowed, and eventually stopped. Well-known tipsters who had previously been reliable sources of Sony information fell silent. Industry insiders admitted, sometimes openly, that they had heard nothing concrete. No development confirmations. No prototype sightings. No regulatory filings. Nothing. Instead, a different conversation began to dominate rumor circles: the rise of a new FX camera, often referred to as the FX32 or FX32, positioned as a more cinema-focused compact body that could inherit elements from both the FX3 and the A7S lineage. That shift in discussion triggered a deeper and more uncomfortable debate within the Sony community. Is Sony quietly killing the A7S series? Opinions are sharply divided. On one side are the loyalists, filmmakers and creators who swear by the A7S III and argue that the series still fills a critical gap. They believe not everyone wants a dedicated cinema camera like the FX3. Many creators rely on the hybrid nature of the A7S line, appreciating the balance between strong video performance and usable photography features. For them, the A7S sits perfectly between Sony's FX cinema lineup and the more general-purpose A7 and A7R models. Eliminating it would remove a uniquely flexible tool from the market. There is also a strong business argument in favor of keeping the S line alive. The A7S III continues to sell. Its compact design, dual-purpose nature, and legendary low-light performance still attract buyers years after its release. Some users compare Sony's strategy to a fast food menu built from shared ingredients, similar sensors, processors, and bodies configured differently to serve distinct audiences. From that perspective, discontinuing a still popular model makes little sense. On the other hand, critics see the warning signs clearly. Sony's FX lineup has expanded rapidly, and the overlap between alpha hybrids and cinema cameras is becoming increasingly difficult to justify. Supporting too many models stretches development resources, complicates firmware updates, and creates confusion for consumers. Consolidation, from a production standpoint, is logical. There is also a deeper philosophical question at play: what does the S stand for anymore? Sensitivity once defined the series. Low-light dominance was its calling card. But in 2025, high ISO performance is no longer rare. Stacked sensors, AI noise reduction, and improved processing have made clean low-light footage almost standard across the industry. Hybrid shooters now demand higher resolution, better oversampling, and greater flexibility in post-production. In that context, the original A7S formula may feel dated. Its greatest strength may no longer be unique enough to justify a standalone line. For many creators, the potential disappearance of the A7S line feels personal. The A7S was not just a camera, it was an enabler. It represented creative freedom, the ability to tell stories in any lighting condition without compromise. Whether the Sony A7S IV ever arrives or not, that legacy will live on in every Sony camera capable of producing rich, clean video in impossible situations. And yet, the question remains, lingering in the minds of filmmakers everywhere: is the S series truly gone, or is it simply sleeping, waiting for the right moment to return?